Gas is rocketing to $10 a gallon. No other state has this. This is a record. It's way more than double the rest of America. This is a perfect storm, exposing a deeper rot and really serious abuse inside California.
America, $10 a gallon in California in 2026. And Gavin Newsom went on television and blamed Donald Trump's war. But here's what his team is hoping slides by you. Both refineries took 17% of California's gas production when they left. Gone before Iran fired a single missile. Phillips 66 was out in November 2025. Valero packed up in April 2026. Both driven out by years of Newsom's own regulatory chokeholds before the Strait of Hormuz was even a headline. Iran pulled the trigger, Newsom loaded the gun. California drivers are now catching the bullet.
North Atlantic Airways is canceling flights out of Los Angeles. The international carrier announced that it has suspended all LAX flights from its summer schedule in response to increasing jet fuel costs.
What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Here's what I need you to get inside your head before we go any further. This story runs two separate tracks at the same time here, okay? You need both of them to understand why California is in this position. Track one, late February 2026, the United States and Israel launch a military operation against Iran. Iran responded by closing the Strait of Hormuz. The shipping lanes move roughly 1/5 of all oil traveling by sea on this planet. When it closed, global oil markets responded. Global oil prices spiked to $126 a barrel. Obviously, the world felt it here. Track two, and this one started years before any of that actually happened. California had quietly been destroying its own ability to produce gas, one regulation at a time. One regulation at a time. So when the strait closed, the state, already most dependent on foreign oil, took the hardest hit on the planet. By May 2026, California's statewide gas averaged $6.11. Some stations in LA, Los Angeles County, were already at $6.69. And guys, keep in mind that exact same time, this time right now, the national average is $4.48. The gap here from the national average to California is nearly $1.50 more than anywhere else in the United States. All of this was already in motion before a single shot was fired in the Middle East. The war just made that gap larger. The last tanker that made it through before the Strait of Hormuz closed just pulled into the port. Watch what it tells you how thin California's cushion actually is here.
Yeah, so 2 million barrels of crude oil are thankfully at least now here in California after making it through that all-important Strait of Hormuz. But now this ceasefire that is hanging by a thread leaves the next shipment in limbo and therefore the price of gas. Here's what President Trump had to say today.
They'll drop lower than they were. That's a very small price to pay for getting rid of a nuclear weapon from people that are really mentally deranged.
The president has repeatedly said gas prices will drop once the war ends. However, the United States' latest attempt, Project Freedom, aiming to guide commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz, has led to missiles fired by Iran.
We have beaten them badly. They're talking, now they're reduced to little boats with a machine gun on the front of them.
Our military confirming no U.S. ships were hit, but it's again stranding ships in the strait and impacting the price at the pump.
With the strait disrupted or closed, even temporarily, it can delay supply, drive up shipping costs, and quickly push global oil prices higher.
Again, the last oil tanker from the Middle East just docked in Long Beach. Could be weeks or potentially months before the next one arrives.
2 million barrels just arrived. California burns through 1.4 to 1.8 million barrels every single day. That tanker was barely 1 day's worth of gas. Do that math.
Everyone agreed the war in Iran is making the state's gas price situation worse, while also agreeing California is relying way more on foreign countries for oil, which makes the state vulnerable to price spikes. Gunda specifically was asked what happens if the Strait of Hormuz stays closed for another 60 days. He said the state's oil supply is stable in the short term, but beyond that, if the strait stays closed, prices will likely go up. Here's what that conversation was like.
I do not see presently, at least up to 6 weeks, a shortfall or a supply shortfall. Beyond that, I think based on what we're hearing from the industry and what we have observed, the pricing will move molecules towards California, but it will come at a price. And that's something that we need to closely watch.
For 6 weeks at least, there seems to be some certainty, but almost as certain is that if this situation continues after 6 weeks, we would likely see more price increases for gasoline.
More exposure, yes, absolutely.
The UC Berkeley economist who sat in the same hearing floated one idea that would have put real money back in the driver's pockets immediately. Suspend California's gas tax at 70.9 cents per gallon. It is the highest, obviously, in the country. The national average sits at about 33 cents. Suspending it would deliver direct relief to every driver in the state by the next time that they pulled into the gas station. You guys, you wouldn't believe what Newsom's answer was. It was no. He refused the gas tax holiday while families were making decisions about whether they could afford to drive to work or not. But you guys, he did have a little bit of a different kind of plan.
Gas prices are going up. Every $10 increase in a barrel is roughly 24 cents per gallon that you'll be paying more because of Trump's war. Unfunded war.
With the oil situation, I mean, the state is going to have to start bringing in a lot of fuel from other countries. And just, are you worried about how a global conflict could impact the price of energy in the state?
Well, that's by definition, and my comments align with that concern. So now we have the prospect of a regional war. And so, yes, we are specifically to your question and give you a little bit of background and insight, had extensive conversations over the weekend, gaming out worst case scenarios as it relates to access of imports, as it relates to the ongoing issues around refineries.
Newsom is gaming out emergency scenarios in May 2026 for refinery problems. His own regulatory environment created across multiple years before Trump was even sworn in for the second term. Newsom had no plan. Newsom had no real answers. Just more shoulder shimmies like the dude's been doing Tybo in Sacramento while the state runs dry. He pointed at Trump's war. Obviously here, you guys, he didn't mention his own decade-long war on the companies that used to keep California energy independent. And you guys, the most embarrassing part of all of this, Newsom's own party can't hold the line on defending him anymore.
Sacramento created this mess. Sacramento needs to fix it.
We cannot continue to be at the mercy of international players who we never know what's going to happen.
If there was a conflict somewhere, that would impact us because we're importing so much. If we were not importing, we would be energy independent.
Newsom's own party. This wasn't an opposition spin. That was an inside confession on camera. In 1982, California produced most of its own oil and imported just 6% from outside the state. Today, that number is 64%. The shift obviously didn't happen because of one war or one president. It happened because of regulation after regulation after regulation, making California the most expensive, most legally complicated, least profitable place to run oil refineries anywhere in America. Gas Buddy's Patrick D. Ha, a gas tracking app, said without any decoration, the political environment in California has been hostile to refineries. Hostile. That is the key word. You got to underline it. Not difficult, not complicated here. Hostile. And the companies did what every business does when staying stops making financial sense. They leave.
Yeah. People can go shopping there if they could just put gas in their tank.
Just have to walk.
Yeah, they could drive there and just not, they can just look. They can just window shop because they can't afford anything because the gas is like double what it should be.
Arizona and Nevada barely get mentioned in any of this coverage, but they get their gas from California refineries. When Newsom regulates another California refinery out of existence, those states, Arizona and Nevada, feel it at the pumps too. His energy failure don't just stop at the state lines. Now here's where this stops being just a consumer story and becomes something that every single American should be paying attention to.
We're importing 20% of our product now from India. When Valero shuts down, we're going to be getting 40% of our jet fuel, diesel, and gas from India.
California shut down American refineries in the name of clean energy. You guys remember that spin for so long. Now it fills its tanks with gas refined from Russia crude oil, shipped across the Pacific from India. Newsom's climate agenda accidentally became a revenue stream for Vladimir Putin. California has more than 30 military bases running on that exact supply chain. We're talking about the Air Force, Army, Marine Corps. Their jet fuel now travels 7,000 miles from India before it powers any American aircraft. That pipeline runs directly through countries we have active tensions with. This, my friends, is a national security failure dressed up as a gas price story. And the governor is still doing press conferences instead of press releases with actual solutions.
Are you guys threatening to move out of state and close down your 2 refineries if these amendments do pass?
Yes, Jenny, we have got to get some real action.
A Democrat senator looked directly at the camera and said,
You're going to lose more refineries, and you think the price of gas is high now? Just wait.
And Newsom's response to that warning was to sign a new law.
Governor Gavin Newsom signed Assembly Bill X2-1 Monday afternoon. He calls it an effort to save consumers money at the pump and to provide a more stable gasoline supply in California.
That is the exact same regulatory pressure that drove the other ones out in the first place. He's running the exact identical play and expecting some type of different result here. Senator Brian Jones did not stop at calling the new law counterproductive. He put a number on what happens if any more refineries walk out the door of California, a 75% spike from where the prices are already at. Multiple operators were reportedly evaluating their California exit at the same time Jones made this particular statement. And here's what a congressman brought to the floor of the U.S. House.
And our governor, Gavin Newsom, was asked about this recently on CNN. Why does California have the highest cost of living in the country? The governor had no answer. But the answer is obvious. It is the state's failed policies that have, through this laboratory of democracy experiment we have in this country where you can compare the results of different policies side by side, state by state, they have driven up the price of just about everything in California. So we have the highest gas prices in the country, the highest electricity prices in the country, the second or third highest water bills in the country.
Airlines are done negotiating with California's broken energy math, and watch what the industry's own experts are telling regular people to do about their summer travel plans.
Air travel is getting more expensive at the worst possible time. So many folks are trying to take those summer trips. We're talking about double-digit airfare hikes in the months ahead, and industry experts warn that once these prices go up, they're likely to stay up for quite some time.
And it's not just refineries and airlines leaving California. Hollywood is supposed to be California's backup plan. Films don't need oil or pipelines or refineries, except California taxed and regulated film production into the exact same corner it pushed oil refineries into. Georgia now films more major movies than California. New Mexico, Texas. The entertainment industry ran the same cost calculation every refinery company ran, and they came up with the same answer. You guys remember that Kurt Russell movie, Escape from LA, the one where Los Angeles becomes a giant prison island and the whole country is trying to keep people trapped inside? Hollywood made that as science fiction. Today, it's closer to a business plan of California. Except the real version of this, the people running the prisons are the ones refusing to suspend gas tax and watch every high-income earner book a flight out to Florida. Mark Zuckerberg left, Larry Ellison left, the founders of Google left. One taxpayer exits California, get this, every 20 minutes, according to some census tracking data. They're not leaving for better weather because California, in my opinion, has some of the best weather. They're leaving because staying stopped making financial sense under this governor's policy. And none of that gets mentioned when Newsom talks about running for president. Watch what one California senator told Congress about the refinery situation and where it actually stands and what it means for Newsom's national ambitions here.
In 1980, we had 42 refineries. Today, we have 6. I've been hearing from industry, from refiners, that they're planning on closing more because there's no clear certainty in the state. The governor has no record, especially when it comes to energy prices and gas prices, to run on to be president of the United States.
6 refineries left, down from 42. More closures being planned right now as you're watching this video. And the man who's presided over all of this decline is now asking Americans to put him in charge of the entire country. America, here's what nobody's saying plainly enough. The most recent refinery closure happened in April 2026, and the Energy Analysis reported in May that its full price impact hadn't hit the data yet. The $6 gas California drivers are already paying is still not the peak of the peak. The worst here is on its way. This is the same playbook California has run on housing, the same playbook California ran on crime and homelessness. Regulate it until the producers leave. Blame the shortage on somebody else. Sign a new law that makes some problem even worse. They ran that play on refineries for 4 decades. Now, Arizona and Nevada have to pay for it at the pumps as well. No answer from CNN. No tax relief for families, no emergency plan that didn't involve new mandates on 6 companies still standing in California, a supply chain that runs through American adversaries to fill American gas tanks. 6 refineries, 40 years of managed decline, and a governor with no answers who wants to run the entire country. California can't keep its gas flowing, but he wants to be your president. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.